Call this meeting to order. City of Walton Council meeting November 9th, 2021. If I could everyone please stand for an invocation and pledge? Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day with breath in our lungs and another day to walk your beautiful earth. Lord, we ask that you allow us as leaders to make the best decisions possible for the city of Walton. Lord, we ask you to keep pettiness and short-sightedness out of our hearts, and that you allow us to do good as we've been chosen to do so. In your Son's name I pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Giovanna, if I may, could I please get a roll call?
Howard Stevens.
Here.
Bobby McDonald.
Here.
Terry Courtney.
Here.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Here.
Matt Brown.
Here.
Okay. A few quick announcements. November 11th, the city office will be closed in observance of Veterans Day. Also on that same day, we will be having a Veterans Day ceremony here at the Senior Center and at the Veterans Memorial outside of the building. That will start at 11. That will be followed by a Thanksgiving-style dinner. Our guest speaker for the event will be Representative Savannah Maddox. It should be an excellent event as always. November 25th and 26th, the city office will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving. December 3rd from 6 to 8 will be Christmas on Main. December 7th will be a caucus meeting here at the Senior Center. December 14th will be a council meeting here at the Senior Center at 7 p.m. If I could I please get an approval of tonight's agenda?
Motion. Second.
Howard Stevens.
Yes.
Bobby McDonald.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Okay, and I have minutes for caucus meeting for October 5th and the planning/council meeting for October 12th. If I could I get an emotion?
Motion to approve together.
Thank you, Bobby.
Howard Stevens.
Yes.
Bobby McDonald.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Okay. Coming up with citizens' comments from the police department or from the Boone County Sheriff's Office. I told you I will literally read anything on this paper. From the Boone County Sheriff's Department, Major Bill Mark.
Missed out one day.
I know.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to be with you. As we descend into the dark of winter again.
Yes, sir.
Council's got my monthly report in their package for the audience. A quick summary of Sheriff's Office activity for the month of October. There were 1,088 law enforcement events in the city of Walton, the Sheriff's Department in October 2021. Some of those consist of 10 911 hang-ups. Deputies responded to 22 alarm drops. About a third of those were introduced by storm. So we've got to get that addressed with whoever's operating that place. 5 attempts to locate, 6 animal complaints, Deputies investigated 20 crashes, 2 of those were with injuries. 1 burglary report. Deputies did 21 business checks. Attempted 52 criminal or civil summonses. Handled 7 criminal mischief reports. 14 domestic disputes. 8 intoxicated persons. 2 emotional crises. 7 juvenile trouble. 5 motorist assists. Responded to 4 overdose calls. 8 requests for information. 522 spot checks. 27 suspicious activity reports. 8 theft reports. Deputies handled 38 traffic complaints. Did 85 traffic stops. 14 vehicle complaints. We unlocked 16 cars. Went on 17 wanted person calls. And in all, deputies issued 37 citations and made 14 arrests. And in regard to Christmas on Main, I've already got the email about that. And as usual, we'll assign 3 deputies to handle traffic control and control the event day. So got that covered for you too. Any questions or concerns for me?
Major Mark, is the wreck and fatality on the southbound exit ramp, is that still ongoing under investigation?
It is very much still under investigation, yes, sir.
Okay, so I would assume that that's not something you can share with us, but
Not until the investigation is complete.
when that is complete, and the reason I ask is I have an ongoing, I don't want to call it a battle because it's not a battle, but I have an ongoing thing with the transportation cabinet. When that's complete, would you mind?
Certainly, yeah.
I would very much.
I understand that, that whole interchange is, I guess, the last interchange in Boone County that's really had any significant, traffic engineering, since it was constructed. Walton and this part of the county certainly grown a lot since that ramp was put in. So.
Sure, it is, and I've asked for a double left turn lane multiple times, and if it winds up being that could have been something that could have been prevented, I would love to know that.
Yep. And again, there's still a lot of investigating that needs to be done, and there's a lot of factors that could contribute to that.
Sure, I totally understand, and I appreciate your help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chief Vest. Why does this say file department?
He's an administration. He's an administration, so it's fine.
Chief, thank you.
I've been cold words.
There you go.
Good evening. Just to give the city council a little bit of a brief summary as far as the breakdown of responses for the fire department for the month of October. Within the city limits, the fire department responded to 67 incidents. If you include incidents and the breakdown as far as King County, that's an additional 11 incidents. So in actuality, it was somewhere probably in the low to mid 70s as far as the total for the city limits. As far as the fire district in its entirety, we responded to 145 separate incidents and an additional 9 incidents to mutual aid and assistance calls for neighboring districts. The total responses for the month of October was 154 separate incidents. We responded to 1 working structure fire call, 4 overdose calls, and 19 motor vehicle crashes. As far as the 154 total calls that we responded to, approximately, and these are not exact down to the point, but approximately 50% of our responses was within the city limits itself. 95%
of our incidents occurred within the entire fire district somewhere, and the additional 5% left over was in neighboring fire districts to assist neighboring fire departments somewhere.
Card is. I just texted her.
Anybody have any questions?
Council, any questions for Chief?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Chief, thank you very much.
The man of the hour.
All right. Cardinal Engineering, Matt Bogan.
Thank you, Mayor. I talked to Lisa at Dunrock and Associates yesterday about the High Street project. They're meeting with the Rouse family this Thursday to get the last of the easement documents executed for them, at which time they'll send all the easement packet down to Frankfurt to get the right-of-way official order, at which time we can go ahead and send everything in and get final approval to put it out to bid. On our 2021 road projects, we had the crosswalk striping at Service Road, the first intersection in Councilman Mary Grubbs, on this contract. Councilman Stevens had asked about the possibility of including the second intersection at Service Road on that. It's got sidewalks and ADA ramps on 3 corners, but it doesn't have any crosswalks. And the concern that I noticed is the 2 side streets, the Service Road and the Kroger entrance have a stop sign, but the through movement north and south does not. And my concern would be, unless we made that a 4-way stop, that there would be some safety concerns that pedestrians might cross there, which I realize they're doing already, but if we strike a crosswalk, there might be some expectation on the pedestrians' part that oncoming traffic on Town Center Drive is going to stop. They don't have to. So my suggestion would be, if we were to proceed with that, council would consider making that a 4-way stop. That also might help with the speeding issues that we've had previously. Put another stop in there to break up the flow of traffic. So I'll put that out for council consideration. But as it is, I would be cautious against proceeding with striping crosswalks on that without doing the 4-way stop at the same time. And then on the Owens property projects, we had the lake dredging out to bid. We got one bid back in the amount of $200,000. They did say that they could probably work with us. If there was some sticker shock at that, they could come up and they would be happy to talk through things with council and try to figure out some ways to make adjustments on that would bring the cost down to something more reasonable. But we did go ahead and re-advertise the project just to see if we could get some additional bids in for consideration. Kind of the same thing with the tennis court, not going like we're limited to 1 bid. So the opening for that is on Friday. Most of the contractors that picked up specs the first time around expressed that they were still interested, and we had a couple of new ones that put in for it. So I'm hoping that come Friday we'll have a few additional offers to choose by. And then Mayor Brown, Chief Best and I met to talk over the needs for the training facility on site. And Cardinal put together a legal description and an exhibit for a parcel a little over 3 acres along the frontage of Percival Road that would serve as the training site for the fire department. So if the council's okay to proceed with that for a lease, that will be kind of the first step where Chief can move ahead with preliminary design. I think you mentioned potentially looking at grant funding. So does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, sir.
All right, next up, we have David Martin from Boone County Circuit Clerk's office here to tell us about the Real ID.
Yeah. Now I have some slides. I wasn't sure. I usually do like a PowerPoint on this.
We're not that fancy yet.
Well, that's all right.
I wish we had a big, like, electronic whiteboard.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I tried to bring enough.
We do have a big electronic whiteboard, but we haven't been allowed back in council chambers in, I don't know, like year and a half or better. Nope, I guess I could have done that.
Got enough?
There's enough over there. Some of them are in the bigger format there. Just
What's this for?
Lieutenant Hall.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, it's good to be here tonight. My name's David Martin, I'm the circuit clerk here in Boone County. Oftentimes, our office gets confused with the county clerk. I don't know, a lot of people don't know, they're not aware that here in Kentucky,
Sergeant Hall.
there's two clerk's offices in every county. We have the county clerk, which is a county office. They primarily do the vehicle registration, they have board elections, they oversee the elections. And of course, they do real estate records. Basically, those are the primary functions that they do. They're a county office. We're a state office. We're the largest part of what we do is we're the administrative side of the courts. We process all the relevant and pending documents for the trial courts here in Boone County. And up until recently, we did driver's license, which is why I'm here tonight. I'm trying to get this pulled up, just to give an update on the new Real ID. Technically, it's called the Voluntary Travel ID. That's what the federal government is calling it. Has anyone gotten the Real ID yet? Okay. Hopefully it was a painless experience. It was quick. Did you go to Burlington to the Kentucky office? Okay, good. Good. Well, there's been a lot going on. I wanted to just briefly talk about kind of the history of how this came about. The Real ID Act that was passed in 2005. Here we are 16 years later. It shows you sometimes the wheels of government move slowly. But this derived from the 9/11 attacks. The terrorists throughout the country, they were able to obtain fraudulent IDs in various states. So when the 9/11 Commission, one of the things that they looked at was how credentials, how driver's licenses, how IDs were issued around the country. And most of the time, you go to your local DMV office in most states. Well, here in Kentucky, you go to your circuit clerk's office in the courthouse. I believe we were the only state in the nation to have a driver's license under the clerk of court's offices. Most states, they have their kind of regional type DMV offices when you go, and you present your documents, pay your fee, and then hand you your license. So one of the big changes that they looked at is the issuance model. What they're doing now is they're wanting to take the issuance out of the local office and have it at one central location, have the driver's license and credentials printed at one central location and mailed to everyone. They want to do this for security reasons, so folks can't, somehow obtain some of the hardware, some of the cameras that, and try to, or if they know somebody working in a local office, it's one of the things that they try to alleviate, just kind of the fraudulent activity that they saw from the 9/11 attacks. So historically, here in Kentucky, you visit your local driver's license office, like I said, you pay your fee, produce your documents if you needed to renew or you had an address change, and then hand you your license. That's one of the things that they're going away with, they did away with. So in the 2020 legislative session, House Bill 453 was passed. And basically what they did was they shifted the role of who was issuing the driver's license out of the circuit clerk's office and made the transportation cabinet the sole provider issuing office for driver's license. So after that bill was passed, several changes. This was a big change for Kentucky because Again, you always had to go to your local office in your county of residence and get that credential. So late in 2020, the cabinet began opening regional offices all over the state. They're still underway with that, with those openings. And currently, to date, there's 21 regional offices. These are larger offices around the state. They eliminated the requirement to have to go in your own county of residence to get that license. We're fortunate here in Northern Kentucky. There's only one Northern Kentucky regional office at the present time, the one that you two went to. I guess, Mayor, you're going Friday, I think you said, to get yours. So they're not going to be in every county, but they are larger offices. This particular office that we have out here in Burlington has 18 workstations, so it's pretty large. And like I said, I think we're fortunate to have one here locally in Boone County. I know that there's other parts of the state while they're still trying to get the driver's license offices up. Some folks are having to drive quite a bit to get their license. So I do know that they're talking about having another Northern Kentucky regional office somewhere in another part of this area, which I think they should do. Obviously, with the growth of not just Boone County but all of Northern Kentucky, it's something that needs to happen. So what they're doing is they're gradually phasing. They're going a handful of counties every month where they're pulling them out of the circuit clerk's offices and shifting all those operations to these regional offices. So here in Boone County in September was our last month to issue driver's license in our office, and now it's been completely shifted over to the office in Burlington. Does everybody know well, to those of you that haven't been, the address is First Financial Drive. It's off of Burlington, right behind the Gold Star Chili there. It's just under a mile from the courthouse, so it's pretty close. You turn left onto Kingsgate Drive, and it's your first drive on the left. I don't know why they put it in Burlington. I know that there were talks to have it in Florence, kind of more centrally located by the highway, but for whatever reason, I think there's some politics in Frankfurt involved and ended up where it is today. But again, for Boone Countyans, for us, I think it's a good thing to have it close by. Now, if you want to look at slide 8, where it says Kentucky Standard Credential, you'll see on the left there, on the top license, that's the license, the standard license that we've always had. And that's what that looks like. Below that is what the new license is going to look like. So they've changed it up quite a bit, just to... So they've changed it up quite a bit. The one thing about the standard license, the license we've always had, it's still going to be good for voting. This is voting and age-restricted purchases, for driving. And it is one thing I want to make the point of is it is optional. No one has to get it. The enforcement period to have a real ID, voluntary travel ID, is May 3rd of 2023. They pushed it out. I think they extended it 3 or 4 times. I think originally it was 2019 you had to have it, and then they looked across the country and most folks didn't have it. So they kicked it out another year to 2020, and then they kicked it out to October 1st of this year. And then again, still there's a lot of folks, not just here in Kentucky, but around the country that don't have it yet. So Department of Homeland Security extended it 19 months back in May. So it's May 3rd of 2023 is when that enforcement period will go into effect. So up until then, you don't have to have it. But I tell people, if you're due to renew and you're expiring soon, you may want to go ahead and get it just to have it done, so you don't have to worry about it once that time comes. Okay, so the next slide is the picture of the voluntary travel ID. The only difference, if you'll notice, is it has a star on it. That's the one defining thing. It looks just like the new standard credential, except it has a star on it. And again, after May 20 of 23, when the enforcement period begins, you'll have to have it to fly domestically. You'll have to have it to enter a restricted federal building, and you'll have to have it to enter a military base. Now, the one caveat to that is if you have a valid passport that's not expired, that will work in place of a voluntary travel ID. So a lot of folks have passports, and they say, hey, I'm going to just keep my standard credential. So that is an option. The other point to make is that you will still need to have a passport if you want to fly internationally. So that's something that hasn't changed. won't change. On slide 10 there, there's some other federal documents that are listed that folks have. If you have a foreign government issued passport, a permanent resident card, those are other documents that people can use after May of 2023 to fly domestically. And then, of course, on TSA.org on the website, they have more information about that. Okay, so the next part, I think, there's been folks that like what's happening. There's folks that are not real happy with the changes, but this is a federally mandated credential that in each state has to administer, the process themselves. But one of the things or a few of the things that the Transportation Cabinet has decided to do that's never been done before is if you're able to renew your license online. If you're just doing a standard renewal and nothing's changed, your address hasn't changed, name hasn't changed, you can do it online. And before, you could never do that. You always had to go in person, get a new photo, and again, pay your fee and produce your documents. So now they've added that feature, which I think is a good thing. And the other thing is they're doing a permanent mail-in service as well. So you can go to the website, drive.ky.gov, print off the form, you can fill it out, and then mail it in with your form of payment or your check, and then they'll mail you your new credential. And again, these are only for just renewals. I think they're going to open it up for name changes and different things down the road once they get kind of this process in place. Since these programs began back in June, they've had nearly 50,000 renewals. And it may not seem like a lot, this is statewide, but that's almost 50,000 transactions that were made remotely with folks who didn't actually have to go into an office. They were able to do it in the comfort of their own home, at their own convenience. And obviously that number will grow over time. So I like the fact that technology is being utilized and the processes are hopefully made more convenient and easier for people. And I see a day coming, where you'll download an app, you'll take a photo yourself and upload it, it'll accept it, and send it off, and again, send your payment, and they'll mail your license. I mean, I think that those days are coming down the road. The other cool thing I think is good is they're going to have 4 or 8 year options. So right now, our driver's licenses are good for 4 years. They are offering an 8 year option. The price is double. It's $48 for 8 years, or $24 for 4. So I don't know why anybody wouldn't get 8 year. You don't have to think about it or worry about it for 8 years. The other feature, again, you can go to any regional office. They have them all over the state. And the big part of that is they're not going to be in every county. So they are strategically located. And if you go to let's see, slide 12, it does have a list of where the offices are right now, the 21 offices throughout the state. And they are continuing, like I said, every month to add more regional offices across the state. Okay, so the big thing is when you go to a regional office to get if you're getting your real ID for the first time, everybody has to go the first time to get the real ID. It's like starting all over. You have to present your documents, and then you have to get your photo. They have to upload it and do all that. The main set of documents for most people that you need is a proof of identity, so it's a birth certificate. They will take some alternatives like a valid passport. One proof of Social Security, so your Social Security card. They will take a W-2 with your Social Security number listed on it, but it has to be fully listed, not just the last 4. And then 2 proofs of residency, like your driver's license, your current one, if you count as one, and then any kind of bill, like a utility bill or property bill, cell phone bill, those kind of things. And all those documents that you need, or the options that they have for that, are listed on the website.
For married people, do you have to have a marriage certificate?
Yeah, yes, and this affects mostly women, married names. So if your last name today is different than what's listed on your birth certificate, you have to bring in the document showing why, like a marriage certificate or a divorce decree. They want to see kind of that chain of how your name changed, along the way. Now, I have an aunt, been married a few times, and she had to bring in a bunch of documents to show her name changes each time. So I remember her calling me about it, scrambling to look for all those documents. But all the, again, all those items are listed on the website, drive.ky.gov. And the key is to have your documents. You guys obviously had them, it was a smooth process. If you don't want to be turned away and have to come back. You know, that's what I always say. And I always just make sure you have what you need. Just
We were there just a couple weeks ago, and I took my divorce decree and my first marriage license and was ever married twice.
Okay.
And he didn't even need my divorce decree or my first marriage license. He said they did away with that.
Oh, okay.
Because they had too many complaints, so they had my birth certificate and my marriage license for now.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Well, see, that's an update I wasn't aware of. Well, that's good to know. And I think that's a good thing. I think that, you know, I always thought, I didn't really understand why they needed every, you know, as long as they see what you have today, what your name is today versus what's on your birth certificate. That's a good change, so you're telling me something.
Well, I kind of told him that I thought it was discrimination against women. I mean, men could be married 20 times and it didn't matter, but a woman had to
Right.
prove
Yeah.
all those different times and
Yeah.
show documentation.
Hey, a friend
But
of
he said they
mine
can't.
just took his wife's last name. It happened.
Oh, okay.
He hates his family, so he's now hers.
I've got a friend that did the same, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, the current licenses show military service, is the new going to reflect that or not?
Yes, it should. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if you have to show a DD 214 again. You know, there's the number listed on there if you want to call. But yes, they will have that option. You can have that military status shown. Yeah, I do know that.
Councilman Stevens beat me to the punch on that. I was about to ask the same. I plan on bringing my DD 214 with me, just the same. But in addition to that, will this also have donor
Yeah.
status on it?
Yes, donor status has been carried over to this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I might want to say that my husband's a veteran, and it does say veteran underneath his name.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
it was DD2.
Did he have to bring it in this time?
Yeah, he
Okay.
did have.
Now, see, I wasn't sure, you know, it's, we never did the real ID in our office, we just did the standard up until we closed in September with these services. So I know these little things I wasn't sure on. I wasn't, I didn't know if it automatically renewed it if you already had it or if you had to bring it in, but it makes sense because it's kind of like starting all over, you have to bring in all your documents again. A really cool feature that they have, and I had it kind of talk, this is here on slide 15. It's called an iDocument guide, so if someone's not sure what they need to bring in, they can go to the website, go and click on the iDocument guide, and it'll ask you a series of questions about your situation and what you have. And then as far as, documents you need, and then once you're done answering those questions, you can put in your email, and it'll email you exactly what you need to bring with you when you go to get your license. I think it's a neat little feature. Okay, slide 16. So here's a picture. As I was saying earlier, you don't get, you're not getting the driver's license handed to you anymore right at the office. What they're doing now is they're giving you a piece of paper, a document it's valid for 30 days. And that's your temporary driver's license. I believe they staple your old one onto the paper, and then you're supposed to get it in the mail in about a week and a half to 2 weeks. You actually get it. So that's the big difference that what they're doing now. Did you get yours in about that time frame?
A week and a half.
Council, same. The next slide, I just have, a list of pricing on there. Like I said, the standard credential we've always had has been $20 for 4 years. It's basically, so it's been $5 a year. It's went up $1 a year, so it's 24 for 4 years, or 48 for 8 years. And of course, like I said, this is optional. No one has to get they can keep their standard credential if they want. I tell people, I've talked to people, and they say, well, I don't plan on traveling, I'm not sure. And I would say, if, emergencies come up, you never know, it may just be better just to go ahead and get it. That was my suggestion. Of course, everyone can do what they want, because again, you never know if you have to all of a sudden go out of town for something, an emergency, a family member, and then now you're scrambling to try to get your stuff together to get the ID. It's just a headache you probably don't want to deal with. All right. Driver testing. So that's all driver testing, written and road testing, driver's license permits. motorcycle, CDL, all that is administered by the state police in Kentucky all across the state. But usually those services are paired up with driver's license offices. So driver's testing did go to that regional office for Boone County and for our area. So that they're doing the same exact things that they've always done. It's just now it's housed in that office there on First Financial Drive. Okay, so typically the renewal period to get your driver's license, you can go renew if you're due to renew within 6 months of your that's your renewal period. If there's people that want to go ahead and get their real ID driver's license now and say they're not due to expire for another year, they can go ahead and go in. It's a $15 prorated fee, and your expiration date will stay the same. So if you expire in a year and you go to get your real ID tomorrow, you'll get your real ID, you'll present the documents, and it'll expire in a year. But the nice thing about that, you've already produced your documents, so in a year, you should be able to just renew it online, and then you can do the 8-year option from there. I think that's about it. Does anybody have any questions? I'm glad a couple of you have done it, so you can vouch for the process. The other thing, well, now that I'm thinking of it, is they have an online, they recommend you can make online appointments. So go to drive.ky.gov. I would strongly suggest that you do that. They do take walk-ins, but it's kind of on a first come, first available basis. So you may get lucky and go in without an appointment and get in 5 minutes, or it may take an hour. And now that our office doesn't issue those licenses anymore, I know they've gotten a lot busier. So you go to drive.ky.gov, click on driver services, and go into the online scheduler. And like I said, I strongly suggest it so when you go, you have a slot that's designated for you, and you can get in and get out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Again, that's another new feature. Before that wasn't available. So I like the fact that the cabinet is utilizing technology and again, trying to make these services more convenient. I know a lot of other states have been doing this for quite a while, so hopefully, we're trying to catch up here. Good things can come from that.
David, just to clarify, if you're getting the standard or the voluntary travel, you go to the regional office.
Yeah.
We don't see you anymore at your place. Okay.
What the cabinet did, it was very, so there's 120 clerk's offices around the state, and then some of the larger counties have satellite offices, so there was close to 140 driver's license offices. And they looked at it, the process to do this is a little bit longer, they would have had to hire more staff, and it just wasn't cost effective to have these services done out of all 140 offices. So to be more efficient, to save money, frankly, they just didn't have the money, and the state's broke, everybody knows it. And so that's why they set up these regional offices, and they housed them there, and it was a pretty big cost savings. So yes, according to the statute, by June of next year, it has to be fully transferred, these services all into these regional offices. There won't be any clerk's offices around the state. And I believe they've already shifted these services out of, I think it's 67 counties. So like I said, we were in the September wave. We're doing a few every month. And but yeah, that's all the standard and the real ID will all be out of these offices.
Does that negatively affect you, or it just frees you guys up to do other things?
So I have 36 employees, and we have 5 employees doing driver's license. So it was a very small part of our office, and we were understaffed like most offices around the state. So we were able to shift them over to the court side, and that's our constitutionally mandated. That's what we're constitutionally mandated to do is court services. We're the keeper of the record. We make it accessible, and driver's license. Again, I even tried to look at the history of that in Kentucky. There's no other state in the country that had driver's license under the clerk of court's office. It's usually, again, in the county clerk's office or in a regional style DMV like they're going towards now. So that was just a small part, of what we did. And I enjoyed doing it. We were able to help a lot of people, but, the state, the state's kind of doing what they're doing, and they kind of took us out of it and just becoming the sole issuers
Gotcha.
of these services. Yes, sir.
So are you expecting a time when these voluntary travel IDs will become involuntary?
I don't know.
Just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know.
Wait and see, right?
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Thank you, sir. But like I said, they're not mandatory. Some people have decided they're going to keep the standard, and they don't want to produce all these extra documents, and then they're going to just use their passport. But, you know, the passport, you kind of have to present a similar type document. So it really is at anyone's preference what they want to do. The one thing we are trying to do, we want to help people where some folks are not technologically savvy. We're willing to help people make appointments online if they call, or do what we can to assist. This is a big deal. A lot of folks aren't even aware of the changes because they're not up for renewal, so it's not something they're thinking about. But I tell people all the time, call our office if we can help point them in the right direction or assist them with scheduling or whatever we can do. We certainly want to do that and be of service.
I will say I would not recommend calling their office. I had my earbuds in the other day at work when I was trying to send something. I was like, oh, I'll just call them. And I was on hold for like 15 minutes and got tired of the music. And I was like, well, let me just check on.
Really?
So I scheduled it it was easy to schedule.
Yeah.
It took me a couple minutes to schedule, but I listened to some corny music for like 15 waiting for somebody to pick up. So I would definitely recommend doing it online.
And I've heard different feedback. I hear they're trying to staff up, and right now everyone's looking for help.
Sure.
Everyone's shorthanded. I've called there myself and waited a while, and I've called there and they picked up right away. So I guess it's timing. I do know that they break a lot of people out around lunchtime. They kind of rotate them, so obviously staffing is going to be a little down during the middle of the day. Their hours are 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. I think I have the phone number listed on there. But if we can be of assistance or answer questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office. Again, this is a big change, and we just want to help facilitate any way we can. Well, thank you for your time. I know I kind of threw a lot at you, but I'm going around to the different meetings, and I think it's worth kind of putting that information out there because people are going to need to know this as we get closer to that enforcement date. So, again, reach out if you have any questions.
David, thank you very much. Something I've skipped the past meeting by accident. I'll open this up, citizens' comments. Go right around. Barb?
Can I leave?
You can.
Thank you.
Yes, if I may.
Yeah, you may.
I wanted to make a comment last month, but it didn't happen. So I'll make the comment this month. I would like to thank the mayor, city council, Matt Rogan, and Attorney Duncan for the job that was done over on Dolores Court where I live. It took a while to do it. It's been in process for a while, trying to get it going, and it got completed. And I'd just like to thank everybody involved for getting that done.
Very welcome. Sir?
Resolution.
Okay. Moving on. We have resolution number 2021-12. Resolution of the City of Walton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with the Walton Fire Protection District for use of a portion of the Owens real estate for a training and education center. Counselor.
Mayor, you just read the title. I guess by further summary, attached to the resolution or with the resolution, you'll see a plat that was drawn up by Cardinal Engineering that shows the parcel proposed to be leased. And then also attached is the legal description of 3.1345 acres. This is proposed to be a 40-year lease for $1 a year. Not shown on this drawing, but it was shown on previous drawings that you had. A big part of the entrance road is going to be a joint entrance road that goes up and then splits off. And this resolution proposes that the district would install heavy-duty thick concrete on that entrance road up until the point where it splits off, and then the city would take care of the rest of the road. The other details will be worked out in the lease itself. So if you wish to go forward with this, you can adopt this resolution by motion.
Motion. Can we get $2 a year?
I'll tell you what, I'll pay for the damn lease.
Yeah. Chief's pretty tight. He said $1.
Dollars as tight as it gets. Just wait till the next resolution. All right, can we get a vote, please?
Howard Stevens.
Yes.
Bobby McDonald.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next is resolution number 2021-13, a resolution of the city of Walton, Kentucky, authorizing the city to provide the Walton Fire Protection District the city's unused portion of the CARES Act CRF funds in the approximate amount of $29,756 to be used for the purposes as set forth in the act.
And again, Mayor, that's the title. The summary is we've applied for an additional $29,756, which can only be used under the act for the purposes specified. The city believes that we will not need that money. We do know that the fire district can use the money, and they're not expected to be given any of this money unless we divert it to them. It can only be used for the purposes set forth in the act. And if you want to adopt this resolution, you can do that by motion.
Motion.
Can we have discussion real quick?
Yes?
I know we discussed it last week at caucus, however, and we all agreed if we're not going to use the money, that's where those that were present wanted the money to go. However, my only question would be, for over a year, we've talked about cameras in City Hall. Would this be appropriate to use this money for that, to complete that? I'm not saying $29,000, obviously, but a portion of that money, are we able to then go ahead and install the cameras in City Hall?
I believe that'd be purchase that would be approved.
Yeah, I think so. And the way that this is worded is that they get the unused portion of it, not especially all of it. So if we can use some of it, we will, and then whatever the rest, the balance is left, that they would get if you adopt this resolution the way written.
Well, yeah, in all fairness, we have talked about that, and I do believe at one point I had a quote on that. And we have the money on our own to do this. It would be, I imagine that it would be approved, but we have until December to spend that money. And unless somebody walks in here tomorrow and installs a camera and pays that, I don't think that we're going to have that money spent.
Are you saying December 1st or at the end of the year?
No, I'm
December 31st, right?
not. Forget when exactly. I know it's in December. Can't remember. This might take a minute. December 30th is correct. Regardless,
So do you want to hold off on this resolution?
Well, to Mr. Duncan's point, the way it's worded, it would be unused funds, so
So we can pass it as is, and then if we spend it, we spend some of it. If it doesn't get spent by December 30th, Chief Best gets it all, right?
That's the way it's worded.
Okay.
He needs at least $40 or He's gonna be in trouble.
Well, he would have to use the funds by December 30th, correct? Is that not?
No.
No, okay, very good. So we would just
Okay.
have to allocate it by
We
then.
would cut the fire district a check, and that would cover the portion. That would be basically the end of governmental oversight. We would, chief would use it for PPE and things of that nature. But as far as the Department of Local Government is concerned, that would be it.
And then one other question, I appreciate you entertaining the thought, but if you decided to use the money in that capacity, it could be done by your executive decision. You did not need council to approve that, correct?
No.
Okay, very good.
Motion.
I already did that.
Oh, did he?
You're seconding the motion.
Second, yeah. We'll second the motion.
Howard Stevens.
Yes.
He's now.
Bobby McDonald.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Okay. Next is Municipal Order 2021-05. Municipal Order of the City of Walton, Kentucky, appointing and approving Michael D. Schwartz, zoning administrator for the City of Walton. Counselor?
And that is the title. By further summary, you can see it in the whereas clauses. Longtime zoning administrator for the city and the county, Kevin Wall, has retired. And Michael Schwartz has been promoted to Director of Zoning Services and appointed as a zoning administrator both for the county and the cities of Florence and Union and the Planning Commission. And they, under the statute, we need to appoint a zoning administrator. And they've asked that we appoint Mike Schwartz. I've known Mike Schwartz for a long time. I think he'll do an excellent job, so.
I don't know him. I've never met him.
Yeah, may I ask, like, how he serves us? Does he make decisions on our behalf, or?
Yeah, whenever there's a zoning application for property that's within the city of Walton in the Boone County part, the zoning administrator reviews the plans, gives opinions about whether or not it's a permitted use or not, and so on. It's just, there needs to be one person named as the zoning administrator. The work's actually done by the Boone County Planning Commission under our contract, but under the statute, there needs to be a person named who signs the permits and things like that, and that's Mike Schwartz so far for all the other jurisdictions.
Okay.
I got nothing. Motion.
Second?
Is that Dan?
Yeah.
Thank you. Howard Stevens.
Yes.
Bobby McDonald.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Snowden. Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
No.
All right. We are to the portion where we go into council comments and mayor's comments, but Barb, you have a citizen's comment?
Yes.
Okay?
I just personally want to tell Bobby McDonald how much I appreciate everything he has done for the city over all the years that he has been on council. The amount of time he spends answering people's comments on social media is just unreal. You may not know that he does that, but I don't care if a person puts a negative comment on there or asks a question or what they put on there, he answers it. And he goes into detail if they want an explanation of how he came up with that decision. I don't know of any other council member, honestly, that's ever done that. And he serves the city doing that and taking care of the citizens. And it's just been a pleasure having him serve the city. And I hate to see him go. I appreciate the fact that he has to, but I personally am going to miss having him on council. So thank you all.
Thank you very much for the kind words. I don't get those a lot.
You'll still be on Facebook, right? For speaking for us, right?
Speaking for us, even more honest and true.
Forward all the things that you want to say but can't say.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter how somebody might have come back towards him. Sometimes they didn't make really nice comments towards him. He was never disrespectful to anybody, ever.
Are you sure?
You can thank John Wainwright and Matt Brown for that. You know, I got put on a leash when I got appointed. So.
He did take care of Darren for us, so. That's for sure.
That was very well said, Barb, and I think everybody in the room agrees with you, just in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay. Moving on to council comments.
Well, Barb said it all. I was going to say almost basically the same thing. Appreciate all your service.
Well, I guess my comment is, in case you ain't figured it out, I'm resigning as of tonight. Sold my business and my homes and moved to Florence, outside of the city limits of Florence. I think Gabe talked to them, and I wasn't allowed to live inside the city limits, so I couldn't run for city office. But no, we found the home that we needed ended up being up there. We looked down here and wasn't able to find anything in the Walton Verona district. So we'll be a resident of Florence soon.
Florence is.
As soon as I get some utility bills, I'll go get a
Real ID.
That's all we're waiting on.
Wait till Diane gets a load of you, bud. Councilwoman Courtney.
I too want to thank Bobby for all his service, and I would just like to challenge anyone who's interested in the position of the appointment to, one, it's going to be big shoes to fill, and what Barb said is so true. Bobby is so giving of his time. Yeah, I think a lot of people in town knows that he's the ticket guy up at Kroger, and but he's given a lot of his time. He's going to be really missed, and I would hope that we get a lot of interest in people who are ready to step up and be active the way that Bobby was.
Yeah, good luck with that, Joey. They're going to find out that I'm gone, man. It's gonna be
But yeah, Bobby's appreciated, and he will be missed. I was going to ask if, I know the mayor gets nervous when I have a list. I was going to ask if, for the Veterans Day celebration on Thursday, if perhaps we could ask families to send along maybe 10 containers for the shut-ins. If we don't have I don't think we have the styrofoam containers here, correct? I've been talking to Tootie.
Already taken care of.
Good work. Thank
Terry,
you.
just
I appreciate it.
just like the other 8 to 10 years I've been, how long now? Yes, I got you covered.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'll tell Tootie you've done your job and done it well. And everything else is covered. Thank you.
All right.
Got nothing?
Well, Bobby, I'll miss you very much. It's the end of a journey. We started a long time ago, so I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I appreciate you, sir.
I forgot your Mallow cups. I'm sorry.
Call Johnny.
I thought you were going to cry.
It is upsetting, Jimmy. I mean, we started a long time ago.
10 years.
It's always been me and Bobby, So. I'll miss him very much.
All right. Well, we're done. I'm not crying, you're crying.
May I add one other thing, please? I'm sorry.
Of course.
Happy birthday to Matt. It's Matt's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Matt. Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt. All right, well, call me a son of a biscuit eater. I never thought I'd say it. Bobby, I think I've expressed this to you personally, but I'll say it for the open record. If somebody had told me 2 or 3 years ago that I would miss you when you're gone, I would have bet them $10,000 to a dime. And now I would be scrounging to come up with $10,000. So I will miss you very much. You've done an absolutely fantastic job for the city of Walton in your role as a council member. I appreciate you very much.
Oh, he's still alive.
I'm not sure that I had this made. This doesn't look like me, but here's a certificate of appreciation for you, sir. Thank you very much, Bobby.
Thanks, Howard.
Here, here.
And as the meeting, before it adjourns, or after it adjourns, if we could all see Bobby's attire under his shirt. He's wearing something special tonight.
I'm sure he is. I would also, I would like to give a brief update on Zote phones. I spoke with Dan this evening prior to the meeting. Out of four companies that they were able to get a design from, they were able to get a company that not only came in with the quickest lead time, but also the better product as far as the engineering goes. So we are not looking, they have signed that contract. We are looking at a 16-week as opposed to the initially thought 22. And they're hopeful that that will be, could possibly be even quicker. I've been assured that they're going to press for that. The decibel readings that they anticipate from the new stack that they have ordered should come in even lower than what it was before the initial failure. Just wanted to give a brief update on that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Can I get a vote to
Yes.
adjourn?
We're ready.
Howard Stevens.
Yes.
Bobby McDonald.
No.
Terry Courtney.
No.
Sherry Snowden.
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Pressure on.
He's gonna have to break the tie.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, there wouldn't be a tie. Yeah.